Is attraction marketing something that you should actually be looking into right now to build your side hustle? Is our home parties more difficult right now? Absolutely. Is the ability to actually go to social gatherings for your company very difficult? Yep. So what I did is I brought attraction marketing expert with me, Brandy Shaver. She is a 7-figure earner within the attraction marketing, network marketing industry. And she's come to share a little bit about her expertise and kind of what got her into network marketing and what you can start doing in order to capitalize on this time where everybody's at home right now. So Brandy, really excited to have you. Yay.
Hi guys. I'm excited to be here. Thanks, Karen, for the invite. Excited to be able to share maybe some gold nuggets for your peeps. I'm excited.
I love it. Yay. So guys, if you're coming in live, let me know. Let me know where you're coming in from. And if you're coming in on the replay, let me know that as well. And let me know where you are coming in from as well. So let's get this thing started, because I know, Brandy, you are a busy woman, but I am so glad that you were able to take some time out and say hey to some of my peeps and just connect with people in the online world.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. How else do you connect these days, right?
I know, right? This is it. This is all there is. So tell us, what got you started in the network marketing industry? What got you to go, I need to start doing something different with my life?
Yep. So it was about 6 years ago that my husband and I were working a lot of hours, right? I'm sure many of you out there have felt this same pain in your life, is that there's usually more month at the end of your money, especially if you like nice stuff, right? Yeah. So my husband was working 4 jobs, and then he was volunteering for search and rescue as well. And I was running a salon, and I had 6 kids, age 1 all the way to 18. So they were all in different stuff, all involved in the community, all with baseball and drill team and football and all of that stuff. So I was one of those busy moms, like running around like a crazy person. And, really what happened was I remember Nate and I don't remember exactly where we were, but I was like, this sucks, right? Like we never get to see each other. We're just always working, and how it just didn't make sense, because we got married to be together, and then we were like more apart, right? Like, and then, we weren't spending time with our kids either, like quality time that we needed to be spending with our kids. We were just like busting our butts trying to figure out how to, pay for all the nice things and keep the kids in football, drill team, all those things, right?
Yeah.
So my mother-in-law brought a video over through my front door, and I was like, schmeh, right? Like, I'd owned a salon. So I had a lot of people show me a lot of stuff. Yeah. And, I just was like, the only reason I watched it is because she's my mother-in-law. So I watched it. And, I was like, my first question was like, who knows about this? And second, is this real? Because what I found in that instance was something that I could do in the pockets of my time. And now that I think about it, there really is nothing else that I could have done to build the kind of income that I've built while we were doing everything else. There just really isn't. There's like, I couldn't have gone and went and got another job that I could do 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. Right? It just didn't make sense. So that's how I got involved. I actually resisted. I knew I was supposed to do this. I did. I resisted for like 2 weeks. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. Right? But I knew in my gut that this was what we were waiting for. And so, we jumped in with both feet, and that's where we come from in the network marketing world.
Cool. All right. So fast forward a little bit. So you got started in your side hustle, and then what happened? Like, what made you go, I need to start doing something different in order to build?
Yeah. So at first, with my warm market, Nate is from this town. I live in a town of like, it's about 5,000, 10,000 people if you like put everyone together, all the little areas. But and we're all like at least, I would say 50 miles apart at least. Like, it's like a really small community.
Social isolation's a real thing, right?
Social isolation's a real thing. I do have neighbors, but right now I do have neighbors, but you could like live out in the field and like not see anybody for months until you came into town or whatever. So I just started building with my warm market, and I kept bugging Nate because Nate knows everyone in this entire town. Like, I'm talking by name, who they're married to, who their parents are. Like, they know everyone, right? They know what you did before you did it. That's kind of how this works.
Yeah.
So he knew everyone, and Nate was all for me building network marketing, but for him, not so much, right? Like, he was like, no, I don't really want to, bug my friends about taking a look or having, my wife show them something that they can do. And so I built really quickly here in this small town. I made about, $20,000 my first 8 months. And then that all fell apart. So like people couldn't do what I do, and they weren't willing to do what I do, which they all had jobs, right? I own my own salon, so I could like work around what I was doing. And I had a supportive husband because he wanted me to be doing this. So I started driving 2.5 hours from where I live one way to prospect in malls, restaurants, all those things. Because I only had a Walmart, right? Like, that's it. Yeah. That's all that's here is a Walmart, and we have a Lynn's Market. We now have an IFA. So, we're moving up in the world. But right? Yeah. So, it's definitely grown since I started building my network marketing. But that's where I was, is driving. And I hired a nanny. My husband was working extra hours to pay for that nanny because I still had really little kids at home. Like, River was like maybe almost 2, and Ridge was probably almost 4. And so just driving and meeting people in malls and all that stuff. And it was just a mess. I would go up there and I would get names of people because I could get your name. I could tell you how I loved your purple hair, and you'd be really great doing what I do, and would you like to work from home, and blah, blah, blah. And I'd get your number. But the problem is that most people are staring at this, right? Mm-hmm. So they didn't want, when I called, they didn't want to talk to me. They don't know, like, and trust me. So why would they answer the phone, really, right?
Yeah.
Texting isn't really that effective with someone that you don't really know. So people would give you their number and they would talk to you while you were there, but then building that relationship or trying to get them to take a look at what you're doing, it wasn't effective. Mm-hmm. So that's where I got super frustrated, and I was like, you know what, I got to figure out a different way to do this. And a girl in my company enrolled, and in 19 days, she hit the 3rd from the top rank in our company. And I was like,
that's so irritating.
Yeah, I was like,
what the heck?
She knows something I don't know, right?
Yeah.
She knows something I don't know. And I was so ticked off, right? Like, I was like, this is not even fair. I've been working my tail off, and she just comes in here and enrolls all these people, and all of a sudden, she's making this great money, and I'm just like, this is torturous. So I started stalking her, and what I found is that she was building online, and she knew things I didn't know. And that's where my whole journey started in how I got started online, is by stalking her.
You became an expert stalker in that moment.
I'm really good at that now.
I love it. So how do you feel since you changed your strategy, since you've changed your tactics, how do you feel about the future with this industry?
Oh my goodness. So I actually love what I do now. I have between 100 to 200 people come to me a day that are actually looking for what I have. So it's not me chasing people or dragging you over the enrollment line, right? Like, I used to compare this to my son. He's about 6'8" now. It would be like me taking my 6-foot son and throwing him over my back and like trying to hoof him across the field over here. That's how it is when you're trying to enroll people that are not interested in doing what you want to be doing, right? And I'm sure you've all experienced that. Talking to your best friend or your mom or, whatever, right? You're like, hey, let's go do this together. And you've got to not only convince them that you know what you're doing, but that network marketing is what they need to be doing, right? And they don't even understand like the industry. They have no desire. In fact, half the time they don't even have a pain that you're trying to solve, right? Like, you're just like trying to drag these people across the field over the enrollment line. And it's exhausting.
It
right?
is. You're like,
Oh
please. Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, it's so exhausting to do that. And so once you learn how to bring people to you, it really does change the game and it becomes a lot more fun. So
Absolutely. So what do you see? Okay, so you've kind of shared from your perspective, but what do you see is going to start happening more and more as we're obviously in this time of social isolation right now, but that's not going to be a forever thing, right? But as time moves forward, what do you see happening as far as building our businesses online, as far as using attraction marketing? What do you see for that in the future?
Well, what I see is that it's just going to get more and more because, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, however long we've been on this social distancing deal that's making nuts, by the way.
I know.
Yeah. That, everybody became a digital marketer on that instant because there's not any other way to build your business, right? And I get that you're going to eventually be able to talk to people again. But I can honestly tell you, traditional network marketing, it still does work. I promise. If you grind it out long enough, it'll work. It's just, you've got to be super, what's the word I would use? Extroverted to get people to draw them to you, or you've already got to have a network. And so for the average Joe, see, I was a mom at home. Yeah, I ran a salon, but I've been seeing those clients for like 20 years. Like, I seen certain clients every day of the week. Like that's how big my clientele was. And so, for me to start like pulling them into network marketing, it didn't make sense. And they weren't the right kind of fit. So I see that people will start to build more online, but I also see that a lot of people, just because they are desperate at this point and have really no other way to build their teams, is that they're, using the spammy tammy methods that are like outdated and drive people away. So they need to get an education. So I see a lot of people learning the skills, getting fed up with, not being able to build their teams, but then moving them online at the same time. And so you're going to see a huge wave in more people being online. And what does that mean for you? That means you have to up your game. You're going to have to up your game so that you stand out from all of those spammy tammies, right? Like that's
right, because that's the reality of what we're living in right now. I can tell you, I feel as though I get more messages now from random people, join my team, buy my product.
Yeah.
And when you see those messages, how do you feel? Like I want to make this completely known to everybody. How do you feel when you see those messages coming in from other network marketers?
So when I see those messages, there's two things that happened in my mind. I'm like, number one, whoever's teaching you this needs to stop teaching you this.
Right.
Second, I kind of feel bad for them, honestly. Like, I'm just like, because I was that person, right? When I first came online, before I found out what this girl in my company was actually doing, I went to LinkedIn and was just like throwing mud at a wall, trying to figure out what or how to build online, right? And it was not effective. I actually got kicked off of LinkedIn. I was in LinkedIn jail. I was in LinkedIn jail for a while. And that's the crazy part about it is the people that taught me how to do that are still teaching people how to do that. Like it's just not the way you build relationships. People are not going to join your team or buy your product without knowing, liking, and trusting you. That's the bottom line. And so how do you build that would be the question that I would ask myself if I was starting over. And Karen actually has a way you can do that. So I'll let her talk about her.
Yeah, definitely.
Secret.
I know, right? So what have been some of the biggest maybe struggles that you've experienced when you started building your business online? What was it that you were like, I've got to overcome this? What was the biggest thing that you struggled with?
Yeah, one of the biggest things I struggled with was imposter syndrome, because when I first started building online, imposter syndrome is where you feel like that you're inauthentic or that you're lying to people. And so when I first started building online, I was very open and honest with people. I was like, listen, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out and I'm gonna show you how. So it was kind of like what's the word I would use? Like a reality TV show that was really kind of funny, because you know, like I was just really made fun of myself. My kids were always in the videos. Like, you know, the biggest video that ever got the most reach was the one where I was walking down, my internet stopped working. I was doing a live video and my internet stopped working. So I was like, oh, I got to get closer to the router. Hang on. So I was like walking over the gate because I was trying to keep my cat from going downstairs, walking over the gate, and the gate fell and it went like clear down to the bottom of the stairs. Like seriously. And it was the funniest thing ever. And I'm cracking up, and people online thought it was great fun because, you know, like who really would post a video?
Who does that? Yeah, right.
I mean, wouldn't you normally delete that crap, right? Like, so.
No, because that's funny stuff right there.
And so it's a mixture of reality TV along with just being authentic. And that people don't understand that. They think when they get online that they've got to be this guru, right? And they've got to have this Tesla in the garage, and they've got to have, you know, all the things. They've got to have the gold teeth or whatever, you know, they think that's what people like, and it's not. Wow. People are looking for authentic connections. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I get that. I know a lot of people feel that imposter syndrome when they first come on, but just breaking through that and realizing that you're a person, they're a person, that's who you're trying to connect with.
Right. So. I think the bottom line to all of it too is what really got me over that imposter syndrome piece was figuring out that I could just serve human beings where they were at.
Yeah.
You know, like if somebody, for instance, like me that was brand new and got kicked off of LinkedIn, like I could explain to them, okay, you know, this is probably not the best way you want to be doing your business because this is what happened to me. And there's this way to do it. And it's a lot more effective. So, you know, just sharing with people what's working and helping them along their journey. And you don't have to be the 7-figure earner or whatever to, you know, to do that. You just have to be a human being. That's it.
Right. Which is what's awesome about this, because when you started your journey, you, like you said, you had made your first $20,000 in 8 months. But then after that, you dropped off and your money started to dwindle. But now it's like you are that 7-figure earner, and it's like, sweet. Like there's that total turnaround for you.
Yeah. The problem is when you make the kind of money that I make now is that people don't feel that, like it's a bigger gap to feel that connection. So it's almost like you have to like bring it back to where you started instead of, you know, like being about where you're at now. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. Totally get that. So if you had a new person on your team, which you do constantly, what are some of the things that you would suggest somebody that's brand new in the industry to do?
So number one, they need to figure out how to build an audience. And a lot of people already have an audience on, you know, on their social media. They've spent some time with those people. It's kind of like your warm market in real life, but it's online. So you've got a warm market in real life and you've got a warm market online. And so what we teach our team is to wake up that warm market first, or to start building more warm market, because this all boils down to having an audience. You've got to have a pretty big audience to make this work. And it doesn't mean you have a big audience from the beginning. It just means you've got to constantly be building that audience. So that's what I teach my people is when they get in, is how to wake up that audience they have, and then to keep building that audience. And the audience piece, it matters who you're actually building that audience with, right? Because if we're trying to sell steak to a vegetarian, that's really not going to be effective. So, you know, again, pulling those people over that don't want to do network marketing or have a kind of a bad taste in their mouth about network marketing isn't going to serve you very well. They're never going to buy anything or join your team if they're not the right prospects. So that's key to all of that too.
Yeah, which is honestly what a lot of network marketers do, is we try to sell that steak to the vegetarian. And like you said, when we first started this, you had your own salon and you were talking to these people, but you realized they weren't the right fit.
Yes, they weren't the right fit. And a lot of them are happy doing what they're doing. You know, there's nothing wrong with someone loving their 9-to-5 job. They're really,
absolutely,
you know, and that's another thing too, is people, entrepreneurs, like, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs are like, oh, you know, I'm glad you love that 9-to-5 deal. So what? Like, you know,
so what? Yeah.
If they're not in a place to ever take a look at what you're doing, if they love what they're doing, like it's just time for every person is different. Maybe down the road, you know, like my husband used to be like totally in love with what he does. And now he's like, oh, I'd rather vomit than go to work, right? Like it's just where he's at. And his timing right now for him to do something different is totally open because he has those options now. He's not stuck in that, same game he's playing.
Yep. And what's cool is that you've actually cracked the code to figure out how to find those people that are looking for something different, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely something you have to learn, and it's not difficult. It just takes time to learn the skills and to practice the skills. That's all it's about, is taking that time to learn them and do them.
Totally. Well, thank you, Brandy. I am so glad that you were able to join us and share your story and just connect with our viewers here. But I wanted to invite anybody that is listening to Brandy's story and is really intrigued about what she's sharing and wants to know how to start attracting those people to yourself in the online space instead of being that spammy Tammy. instead of hunting after people, you actually have people coming your way. If you're looking for something like that, what I want to offer you is, if you are currently on Facebook, I'm going to drop that in the comments for you, a link for you to actually start figuring out how to do this. Okay. And if you are currently on YouTube, there is a link in the description that you can check out the resource. You just look for that blueprint. It says resource for attraction marketing. Okay. So go ahead and check out those two places. And once again, thank you so much, Brandy. I really appreciate you hanging out with us.
You bet. It was an honor, Karen. Thank you so much for having me. So
I love it. All right, guys, we'll see you later.
Bye.